Hello and welcome to another Writing Wednesday. I'll be honest, this Wednesday really snuck up on me. Like, I have just lost track of the days of the week. And there are little things here and there that remind me what day it is, but just overall, it's been really hard to keep track. So today I'm mostly going to be talking about shiny new idea syndrome, basically, because I've recently had a new idea, but it's not for any of the projects I am currently working on. So if you aren't already aware, my current projects I am working on are my NaNoWriMo 2020 project, and then my Winx Club fanfiction, which releases on fanfiction.net, AO3, and Wattpad every Friday. And then I also have a live stream on that Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific time to celebrate the release of the new chapter. But before I was working on that Winx Club fanfiction for both the April and July Camp NaNoWriMos, I was working on a Star Wars fanfiction. And of course, just this week, as I've stopped writing that Star Wars fanfiction, or at least took a break from it, I get a new idea for the Star Wars fanfiction. However, I do want to keep working on my Winx Club fanfiction at least until the first season of Fate the Winx Saga comes out. I talked about Fate the Winx Saga in a previous Writing Wednesday, and we actually don't have that long until the new Netflix show comes out. It comes out in about a week and a half from when I'm filming this. But I'm gonna put on my eyeliner, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about shiny new idea syndrome. So it's funny how I get a new idea for the Star Wars fanfiction now after I've stopped writing it, because the whole time I was writing it during from April to July, I really didn't have any new ideas for it. I was working off of old ideas I had already written down. So maybe it does take stepping away from a project for a little bit to be able to come back to it with a fresh perspective and be able to contribute new ideas. But I'm not working on that project right now, and honestly, I don't know when I intend to come back to it. Oh my god, I'm out of primer. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go find a new primer. Okay, so I generally tend to write and release fan fictions in accordance with when there is kind of a new release going on in the fandom at the time. But with Star Wars, it's a little trickier because I feel like there's always something new with Star Wars, even if it's something smaller like comics or a video game. And as I explained in my Writing Wednesday about the Star Wars fandom, there's also different eras of the Star Wars canon that have different fan bases. So my Star Wars fanfiction is mostly about the sequel trilogy, and we had the release of Rise of Skywalker last year, and that was when I started actually working on my Star Wars fanfiction again. And sort of the major new things coming out for Star Wars right now do not pertain to the sequel trilogy. The Mandalorian is kind of its own thing, but it does technically fall into the original trilogy timeline because it takes place right after the last movie, the original trilogy, Return of the Jedi, and before The Force Awakens, which is the first movie of the sequel trilogy. But if I were to start working on my Star Wars fanfiction again, I honestly don't know when it would be a good time to release it because I don't know when the next thing related to the sequel trilogy is going to come out. And maybe, I don't need to be so strategic about this. It's fanfiction, I'm doing it for free, I'm doing it for fun. And once I get the hang of live streaming once a week for the release of the Winx Club fanfiction, I could easily see myself live streaming twice a week with the release of both the Star Wars fanfiction and the Winx Club fanfiction. But could I work on 2 fanfictions at once? I mean, I've done it before, but I've never done it while also working on an original fiction on top of it. And especially with my goal to finish the first draft of my 2020 NaNoWriMo project by the end of 2021, I don't want to derail that goal by putting more work on myself. I'm also currently in a bit of a reprieve from my internship. We're taking a bit of a holiday break and we're going to be resuming later this month. So that's kind of why I've had more time recently to get more into my writing and start up the live streams. But once I start up my internship again, I don't know if I'm gonna have the same kind of time. And if you know another goal of mine from 2021 that I talked about in last week's Writing Wednesday, you'll know another goal of mine this year is to move to New York. And in every way possible, moving to New York is going to be a huge interruption into my workflow. So honestly, even though I said I wanted to finish the first draft of my NaNoWriMo project in 2021, realistically, I want to get as much of it done as possible before I move to New York. Because after I move to New York, and even in the process of moving, I'm not sure how much free time I'm going to have. But I'd be curious to know your guys' thoughts about this. That's one of the upsides of writing fan fiction and just releasing it weekly, is that I don't have to be super vague about all of my writing projects because you can just find it and see it immediately. I would actually be really curious to know if there's anybody out there who's read both my Star Wars fanfiction and my Winx Club fanfiction. It's not your fault if you haven't. My Star Wars fanfiction and my Winx Club fanfiction are two totally different things and also have totally different writing styles and reading levels. It's actually been really interesting flipping between writing my 2020 NaNoWriMo project and my Star Wars fanfiction, which have kind of similar styles, similar reading levels, to writing my Winx Club fanfiction, which falls into more of a children's to middle grade reading level, just because, you know, Winx Club is a children's show. I imagine most of the people reading my fanfiction for Winx Club are going to be children who really love the show now, or adults who would expect more of a younger reading level for a fanfiction based on a show for children. That's not to say that's true for every Winx Club fanfiction. I certainly know there are Winx Club fanfictions out there with more mature reading levels, with more mature themes, but that's just not the direction I've decided to take with my work. So yeah, that was me talking about my new idea for my Star Wars fanfiction, which I'm not working on right now. And like my thought process behind whether or not I should get back into writing it, or when would even be a good time to get back into writing it. I definitely wouldn't say that there is one fanfiction I enjoy writing more than the other. They're both very different works, and I enjoy them for very different reasons. So on an enjoyment level, I certainly wouldn't mind writing both at the same time. It's just a matter of time management and what my schedule is going to allow for. So I'm gonna quickly put on my lipstick and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so that was my Writing Wednesday. Let me know if you've read either my Star Wars fanfiction or my Winx Club fanfiction. I will link both down below. And just as a reminder, the new chapter of Winx Club Evolved comes out every Friday, followed by a live stream here on YouTube at 2 p.m. Pacific time. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.